Hello, good morning. Hey, everybody. Today we're talking about the changes made by Secure 2.0 and what these changes mean for your retirement accounts. If you have a self-directed IRA, or if you're thinking about opening one, these rule changes matter. They affect when you take distributions, how penalties work, contribution limits, and more. So let's go ahead and break it all down. So first of all, let's talk about required minimum distributions. These are mandatory withdrawals that you must take from your retirement accounts once you reach a certain age. Secure 2.0 changed when you have to start taking these distributions. So previously, you had to start taking required minimum distributions at age 70 and a half. That was a while ago. Then Secure changed it to taking required minimum distributions at age 72. So now Secure 2.0 comes along and changes that again. As of January 1st, 2023, that age increased to 73. That's one extra year where your assets stay in your retirement account without forced distributions. But here's where it gets even better. In 2033, the required minimum distribution age increases again to 75. So we're talking about eventually having 3 more years compared to the original age of 72 rule. So why does this matter for self-directed IRA holders? Because you have control over alternative assets like real estate, precious metals, private placements, cryptocurrency, promissory notes, and private stock, all those kinds of fun stuff. More time before required minimum distributions means more time to make decisions about those assets on your schedule, not a forced schedule. So think about it. If you own real estate in your self-directed IRA, you now have more time to decide when and how to handle that properly before distributions become required. That's flexibility. That's control. That's what understanding these rules gives to you. Okay, now let's talk about penalties. The old penalty for missing a required minimum distribution was harsh. 50% of the amount you should have withdrawn. That's a massive penalty that created significant fear and stress for account holders. Secure 2.0 changed this. The penalty dropped from 50% to 25%, but it gets even better. If you catch the mistake and correct it within 2 years, the penalty can drop all the way down to 10%. This is important for everyone, but especially for self-directed IRA holders. Why? Because managing alternative assets can be more complex than traditional stocks and bonds. Calculating the value of real estate holdings or private placements isn't always straightforward. Having reduced penalties and additional time to correct errors provides breathing room that I'm sure all of us need from time to time. The old 50% penalty was punishing. The new structure with reduced penalties and correction periods, that's much more reasonable. It acknowledges that people make mistakes while encouraging compliance within the rules. So let's talk about Roth account changes. That's a big one that makes a lot of people happy. In talking about Roth accounts, this is a significant change that many people don't know about. Before Secure 2.0, Roth 401k accounts in employer plans required lifetime distributions. So just like the traditional portion or the pre-tax portion, you had to take required minimum distributions. That was different from Roth IRAs, which never, ever required lifetime distributions. Secure 2.0 changed this. Starting in 2024, Roth accounts in employer plans no longer require distributions during your lifetime. They now work like regular Roth IRAs. So what does this mean for you? More control. If you have Roth options available, you now have even more flexibility about when to take distributions. Your Roth assets can continue growing without forced withdrawals during your lifetime. Understanding the difference between Roth and traditional accounts helps you see all your options. It helps you make decisions about where to hold different types of assets. Education about these rules equals better decision-making capability. So let's see, Secure 2.0. Let's talk about catch-up contributions. That's a biggie. Secure 2.0 introduced enhanced catch-up contributions for a specific age group. So if you're between ages 60 and 63, pay attention to this. Starting last year in 2025, people ages 60 through 63 can now make catch-up contributions of up to $11,250 to employer retirement plans. Compare that to the standard catch-up of $7,500 for those 50 and older. That's a significant increase. But why these specific ages? Because they're often critical years right before retirement. People in this age range are typically in their peak earning years and trying to maximize retirement savings before they stop working. For self-directed IRA holders, understanding contribution limits helps you maximize what you can allocate towards alternative assets. More contributions mean more assets available for options like real estate, precious metals, or private placements within your retirement account structure. So if you're in this age range or approaching it, understanding these enhanced contribution limits helps you plan better. You have the ability to add more to your retirement accounts during those critical years. So let's talk about 529 to Roth rollovers. This is an interesting new option that many families don't know about. Starting in 2024, Secure 2.0 allowed you to roll over unused 529 education savings into Roth IRAs for the beneficiary. There are specific requirements for this. The 529 account must have been maintained for at least 15 years. The rollover is subject to a $35,000 lifetime maximum, and the annual rollover amount cannot exceed the annual Roth IRA contribution limit. So, why does this matter? Because it gives unused education savings a path into retirement accounts. Maybe your child got scholarships. Maybe they didn't go to college. Maybe there are leftover funds after graduation. Now there's an option to redirect those assets towards that beneficiary's retirement. This is about understanding all available pathways for building retirement assets. Education savings that served one purpose can now potentially serve another purpose. That's flexibility, and that's having options. Now let's discuss emergency access to retirement funds. Secure 2.0 created new penalty-free withdrawal options for specific emergency situations. Starting in 2024 again, account holders can withdraw up to $1,000 per year for emergency personal or family expenses without the typical 10% early withdrawal penalty. Just $1,000 per year, but without penalty. You do still have to pay taxes. There's also a provision for domestic abuse survivors. They can withdraw the lesser of $10,000 or 50% of their retirement savings without penalty. This provides access during genuinely difficult situations. For self-directed IRA holders with alternative assets, understanding these emergency access provisions helps you know your options if unexpected situations arise. The goal is always long-term retirement security, but knowing you have emergency access options provides peace of mind. These aren't provisions you want to use casually, though. Retirement accounts exist for retirement, but life happens. Emergencies occur, and having these options available matters. So, we've covered a lot of changes. Let's bring this back to self-directed IRAs specifically. What do all these Secure 2.0 changes mean if you have or want a self-directed IRA? First, you have more time before required distributions. That means more time to manage alternative assets like real estate, precious metals, private placements, cryptocurrency, promissory notes, private stock, all of that on your timeline. Second, penalties for mistakes are lower. That matters when managing more complex alternative assets, when calculating values and distributions isn't always as straightforward as it could be. Third, you have enhanced contribution options during peak earning years. That means potentially more assets to allocate towards alternative options within your self-directed IRA. Fourth, you have new rollover pathways and emergency access options, more flexibility, more control, more options for managing retirement assets. A self-directed IRA gives you control over a broader range of asset options beyond traditional stocks and bonds. Understanding how Secure 2.0 affects those accounts helps you exercise that control more effectively. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Secure 2.0 brought substantial changes to retirement accounts, from distribution ages to penalties, from contribution limits to rollover options. These changes affect how you manage your retirement assets. The key, as always, is education. Understanding these rules helps you make better decisions. It helps you avoid missed opportunities and outdated assumptions. It helps you see the full picture of options available for your retirement assets. Your self-directed IRA gives you control over alternative assets. Secure 2.0 gives you more flexibility with that control. Understanding both helps you navigate your retirement decision with confidence. Take time to understand these changes. Take time to educate yourself. Your retirement assets deserve informed decision-making based on current rules, not outdated information. Education is the foundation of making good decisions about your self-directed IRA. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Stay educated, stay informed, and make decisions about your retirement assets based on understanding your options. Bye for now.